Hello, I am so excited to be chatting with my dear friend Dolores Hirschmann. Dolores and I have worked together in the past, supporting business owners and entrepreneurs, helping them get on stages and figure out how to leverage those for growing their business. And obviously, now as a coach and speaker manager, I'm doing a lot of creative strategy for speakers and business owners and entrepreneurs. But the part of the business that I've never really touched is actually helping people create their talks. And that's something that my friend Dolores is an expert in. And so I wanted to have this conversation and bring her in front of all of my friends and followers so that she can share a little bit more of her expertise and talk about an event that she has upcoming. So Dolores, tell us a little bit about your background and how did you get started helping people writing their story?
So, Blair, first of all, so good to see you. I always have fun connecting with you, and we had great times together, working together. So, I fell into this space. I mean, my background is in business, in marketing, in communications. But back in 2015, I became the organizer of one of the largest TEDx events here in the East Coast. We gathered this amazing group of speakers. Well, this amazing group of doers that were doing amazing work in their communities. And I realized not everybody can communicate effectively, especially in the TEDx space. It's 18-minute talks, right? And so I quickly realized that many of them needed support in crafting their talk. And so I started doing some research. I brought some coaches, I brought some help, and I learned everything there was to learn around crafting a great high converting talk. And when I say high converting talk, you and I know that for the purpose of whether you're on a TEDx stage or you're a business owner speaking, the goal is not so much to get people to love you and clapping, which it's nice, but the goal is to get people to go on a second date with you. And that through them taking your offer, whether you're giving a free resource to get them into your subscriber list or selling a product. The goal of speaking is to have an opportunity to go on a journey and work with your audiences. So I've been teaching people how to craft their talk for the last 10 years.
That's right. Yeah, no, you've got an immense amount of experience helping people with that. And I love that you focus on converting the audience because that's something I talk about a lot. I think a lot of people just focus on getting the stage or looking for a paid opportunity, and they don't even think about the value of bringing that audience along with them. I think a lot of people understand the value of getting up in front of maybe their ideal client, their ideal audience or customers, but they don't really know what to do to speed that process along. They hope that people will come up to them afterwards, give them some business cards. So, how do you help people reframe that thinking and start to shape a talk that actually allows them to do a lot more than just wait around and see if anyone talks to them afterwards?
So, yeah, first of all, let's have a plan and be intentional. And less is more when we're crafting a talk. It's not about packing everything you know in the 30 minutes you have on stage, because then they're going to have a long time to process. And the more you pack in a talk, the less they'll remember. So it's really about a couple of things. One is having a clear one main idea that you want to share. Second is to structure the talk in a way that you are hooking your audience at the beginning. Obvious statement, but how do we do that? I'm going to teach that. That's what I teach. And then hooking the audience, taking them on a journey while you're on stage, enough that they can they can envision what you're sharing as making a difference in their lives. And therefore, they'll say yes to whatever invitation you have. And that invitation is something that you have to do, that it has what I call limited friction or limited resistance. What does that mean? Like if you send them to a landing page that is hard to get and you're asking 15 questions, they're never going to fill that form. Or if you're on stage and say, hey, if you want to call with me, here's my Calendly, nobody will go and schedule a call while you're on stage looking at the calendar and trying to figure it out. It's a high friction offer, high friction invitation. So what you want is a very simple way for them to come into your world. What's a simple way? sending to a landing page, have them put their name, email, and phone, minimum. That's it. Or share a QR code that takes them to a landing page. Or there's so many tools out there right now, Blair, like send a text to this number, like however you do it. But ultimately, you want them to say yes to coming into your world, so that you can communicate with them. And I don't count follow me on Instagram as an invitation call to action because you don't own any of those followers. You only own people that gave you their contact info.
Yeah, I think people often are hoping that this will just generate followers. But if you even look at your posts on LinkedIn or your posts on Facebook, etc., you can see how many people actually end up seeing your content. It's a fraction of your so-called followers. And you can also see in your email system how many people open your emails and who they are and how can you follow up with them strategically. You get a lot more information from that, and a lot more people are seeing your content from email. And so many people have just ignored that, haven't been consistent with it, and aren't really leveraging it to their full advantage. So what do you tell people to as part of their follow-up? What do people do after the event? How do they continue to engage and get people to go on another date with them?
Yeah, and so that's when the party actually starts. Like it's not, you think that the party's on the stage. No, it all starts when once you get off the stage. First of all, if you're promising them a gift, deliver what you promise, keep your word. That's 101 of building trust. So you bring them into your a funnel, which really is a series of communications, emails or texts, that first, you deliver the gift, and then what I do is I create a sequence of communications and a combination of email and text, SMS, where I say, well, did you get my gift? Were you able to open my gift? Was my gift useful? Did you not have time to use my gift? Because how many of us just get the free resource and we never opened it? Like that's like 90% of us. So if you know that, then say, hey, I'm sure you're busy. You may or may not have been able to make the most of your gift, but why don't we hop on a quick call and I can tell you more about what I do. Ultimately, you want to drive that lead, because now they are a lead, into a converting event. So, what is a converting event? It could be a consultation with you or your sales team. For example, I'm having a webinar coming up, and so my leads are being invited to a free webinar where I'm going to offer them an invitation to work with me to write their talk. So you want to bring that lead into a converting event. You can also convert from the email sequence and say, hey, buy my course. So however you do it, and there's many ways to do it, the goal is to get the lead to trust you and invite them to a next level experience with you, whatever that looks like.
Right, right. Putting myself in now the entrepreneur shoes and thinking, okay, this all sounds great. I'm filling my funnel, but wait a minute. How do I even get these stages? Is it easy? I know that, if I'm been using Facebook ads or meta ads and paying, you kind of understand your customer acquisition cost if you've been leveraging that, or if you haven't dabbled in that because it seems scary and expensive. Is it scary and expensive to get on stages and to get stages?
Oh, it can be scary or expensive, or it can be easy and fun. It depends how you approach it. You and I spent a lot of time together solving that problem for many people, and that was like expensive solution, a concierge solution. But there's a lot of things. First is understanding the mechanics of it and the strategy around it. And second is getting the support to do it. If the entrepreneur is ready to invest some time, then they can go and find these stages. I actually happen to have built a software for it, that actually creates automated campaigns, and it plugs into the biggest professional database in the world, which is LinkedIn, and it looks for meeting planners. I had a great story of one of my clients, 75 years old. Bless her heart, she wants to write a talk, and she did. And she didn't even know what a podcast was, but said, I'm committed to learning. And so she wrote her talk, turned on the what we call stage booking system, my software that I've designed. And she actually has already recorded 4 podcasts. That's where she wanted to start, 4 podcasts. in the last month within 2 weeks of starting. And as we speak today, Blair, you are my third speaking engagement of the day. And about an hour ago, I gave a talk, a 15-minute talk on a virtual summit. So there were about 350 people in the room, and probably more will watch the recording. I spoke for 20 minutes from my office without leaving my home. And I was looking at it, I got about 250 leads from 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Cost me zero. It cost me 20 minutes of my time.
right. And yeah, and that's kind of the point I wanted to drive home is that it doesn't have to be expensive at all. Like I think that's the misconception is you have to spend a lot of time going after these corporate gigs or finding the right, high level contacts, et cetera, when there's opportunities all around you. I think
Everywhere.
it's more about your strategy and you got to have the right talk and you got to have the right valuable information that people just wanna listen to.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about how you work with people, what in and tell us a little bit more about this upcoming event.
Yeah. So I have been helping people write their talk and figure out their stage strategy for a long time. And last year, people know me for this. I work a lot with one-on-one clients. And last year, my team said, Dolores, it's time. You need to offer this at scale, a group program, and an investment that people can afford. So last year we launched our first Write Your Talk group program. We ran the first cohort at the beginning of this year. We just finished our second cohort. And what I wanted to say, and this is why the next one is it's going to be much bigger, is because I wanted to make sure that in 8 weeks I could help people write their signature talks. Because you and I have seen a lot of programs that claim to be great, but do you have a talk at the end? Not always. In this way, that the way I've structured it with a combination of live sessions with me, feedback from me and my team on their forum, and an online group, an online modules component, we have like no person left behind, and everybody finishes their talk or one draft of their talk. So the next webinar I'm running is coming up, and what we're doing there is I am teaching for 90 minutes. I'm doing a couple of things. I'm teaching you the 7-step framework on how to write your talk. I'm talking about how to get on stages, and I'm talking about how to convert from stage. But we also have guests like you and other people who are coming in to talk, where I'm going to do a meeting planner panel where you are going to share your experience as a stage manager and how do you work with people and what do meeting planners look for when booking speakers. So this 90-minute webinar that I'm hosting is packed with everything anybody needs to know the basics of writing your talk, getting on stages, and converting from stage.
Yeah, if you are an entrepreneur, business owner, or if you're just dabbling in speaking or thinking about it, this is going to be such a valuable session. I mean, obviously, Dolores charges for her time typically, so giving away 90 minutes of this training, I know is going to be super valuable for everyone. I'm excited to join and be a small part of that learning, but I know that anyone that does participate will get a lot of value from it. And if you decide to join the program, that's why I decided to participate in helping promote Dolores's work because I love a program that actually produces results and does it quickly. I like to work with my clients for a minimum of 3 months because I want to get a lot of things done in 3 months. It shouldn't take you months and months and months to write a keynote, to get out on stages. It shouldn't take you an endless amount of time to get some different assets together and get going. You need to get out there to know how to improve, and Dolores really does do a great job of getting people there fast and is a wonderful coach to make you feel wonderful in the whole process of doing it.
Yeah, and one of the things I'm going to give everybody that comes to the webinar is a custom GPT. So one that you can help you write your talk, and it's a custom GPT that I coded with my framework. And that once you have your talk, because people say, well, I have my talk, but I now have to do a 10-minute talk or a 20-minute talk, an hour talk, or I want to shift a little bit my topic. So once you have your talk, you can feed it to the custom GPT and say, turn my talk into a 10-minute talk or turn my talk and focus on this part of my talk or this topic. So now you're going to have an AI tool to really be able to transform your talk into whatever you need like that.
That's amazing. I mean, that alone is invaluable with something that already knows this area and is already formatted to help people. I love AI. I do say first draft, not final draft, but I'm supportive. Use it to get something going, but make sure
It's a
it's your
tool.
words, your words at the end of the day. I'm going to include the link of where you can go and register for this webinar in the comments below. But Dolores, anything else that you wanted to share or anything else that people should know before I tell them that they've got to register and join?
Yeah, I would say that if you're a professional earning a living and you're not speaking, you're leaving money on the table. And that means whether you are in business for yourself or you're working at a job, you are the business of you. And so whether it's for personal brand or for getting clients for your business, you should be sharing your knowledge with the world because that's how the world gets to know you.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned business owners, entrepreneurs because it's a no-brainer, but this is a way if you're thinking like that, you might not want to be in the corporate world forever working that nine to
You
five.
want a promotion.
Exactly. Or just want to move up. Like speaking and being out there, presenting internally, externally is a great way to build that personal brand, build a following, and help, really advance any of your objectives, even if that's outside of your professional life. A lot of people we've worked with are passionate about their nonprofits and their other ideas that aren't just for their business. So, I hope that you all will register and join Dolores and I next week at this webinar. And I really look forward to sharing more with that audience. And Dolores, I appreciate you sharing some more with me today and my friends and followers.
Thank you, Blair, so much for hosting me.